One of these books is worth thousands of dollars. This and others could be hiding in your comic book collection. Find out why as we explore the world of Marvel's price variance. Hi everyone and welcome to Still Only 35 Cents, your weekly dose of vintage comics and collectibles. For this one, we're digging into the world of Marvel's comic book price variance through the ages and why you may have some of these extremely rare and valuable comics in your collection. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell for future videos just like this one. If you're a comic book collector, you've likely come across the term price variant. A price variant is a comic book printed at the same time as the standard US price edition comic, using the same plates and printing presses, but features a different cover price and in some instances other minor changes. These price variants generally make up a small fraction of the total print run, which makes them very collectible and in some instances extremely valuable. One of the earliest of these is the legendary UK price variant, which also has the honour of being the longest running of all the Marvel price variant comics, spanning a total of 25 years and over 3,000 titles across the history of Marvel Comics, running on and off from April 1960 through to June 1985. The history and tale of the UK price variants is a fascinating one as it changed format over the years, with subtle changes that can help you recognise them. In the 1960s, the early UK price variants featured the price change but also omitted the date, as well as featuring an additional interior indicia. The lack of the date is thought to be due to the fact of long shipping to the UK. Later issues, the dates were unchanged from the US copies. In the 70s, with the Marvel Comics Group masthead, UK price variant copies came with an alternative Marvel All-Colour Comics masthead. UK price variant comic books were part of the same print run as the US cent editions and printed at the same time with the same printing plates, albeit with a small change to denote the UK price, etc. They were an extremely small percentage of the total print run, with suggestions around 1 to 3%. Similar to newsstand copies, UK price variants are tougher to find in higher grade due to shipping across the Atlantic and surviving the said UK newsstands. Both of these points are further backed up by CGC census data, which shows that when a UK price variant is available for a title, there are significantly lower numbers on the census and they are generally lower grades when compared to their US counterparts. Despite these facts and relative rarity, particularly at high grade, for some reason UK price variants still represent a bit of an anomaly in terms of value, as they don't command the usual price premiums of other price variants, running about 10% less than the prices of US cent copies. That said, many dealers and collectors like myself are now increasingly starting to recognise the future potential value of these rare printings, especially key issues, and picking up copies when they become available, particularly high-grade Silver Age keys. Most notably, out of the thousands of Marvel UK price variants, there are a number of big key issues from both the Silver Age and Bronze Age. These include Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man; Fantastic Four Issue 1, the first appearance of the Fantastic Four; Fantastic Four Issue 48, Issue 49, and Issue 50. The Galactus Trilogy, with the first appearance of Galactus and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. Hulk #1, featuring the first appearance of the Hulk. Amazing Spider-Man Issue 1, featuring the first appearance of J. Jonah Jameson and the first in-title for Spider-Man. Tales of Suspense Issue 39, featuring the first appearance of Iron Man. Avengers Issue 1, featuring the first appearance of the Avengers. Daredevil Issue 1, featuring the first appearance of Daredevil. And Journey into Mystery 83, featuring the first appearance of Thor. There are also a number of key Bronze Age issues. Werewolf by Night Issue 32, featuring the first appearance of Moon Knight, Tomb of Dracula issue 10, featuring the first appearance of Blade, and Iron Man issue 55, featuring the first appearance of Thanos, as well as Into the Copper Age, with Daredevil 168, featuring the first appearance of Elektra. Throughout the 25-year UK price variance production period, there were a number of hiatuses where copies were not produced, due to a number of different factors, most of which including the launch of Marvel UK titles, in order not to impact the success of those homegrown reprints. This resulted in missing some of the biggest Bronze Age keys, like Hulk issue 181 and Giant Size X-Men issue 1. The next set of Marvel price variants of note are the US 30 cents variants, which date back to April through to August of 1976. With Marvel facing increased production costs and their uncertainty about the effect on sales, they decided to experiment with a 5-cent price increase in select number of test markets in the US. The test was obviously a success. As of September, all books were then priced to 30 cents. These price variants were thought to have been distributed in San Jose, California, Baltimore, Maryland, Springfield, Massachusetts, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and San Antonio, Texas. This is backed up by analysis of distributor marks from those test areas, as well as anecdotal evidence from dealers and consumers at the time. These books do command a premium over the regular price copies, but unlike the UK price variants and the later 35-cent price, Canadian and Australian price variants, despite running across the entire line of Marvel titles, this run only features a handful of key or sought-after issues. Notably, Eternals issue 1, Kid Colt issue 208, and X-Men issues 98, 99, and 100. One of the most valuable price variants came out in 1977 with the 35-cent variants. Similar to the 30-cent price variants, Marvel were again faced with increased production costs and again were keen to test the market for readers' appetite to accept that price increase. As before, they did this by issuing a subset of distributed titles with a 5-cent price increase, and these 35-cent price variants were issued by Marvel between June and October 1977. This time, these 35-cent price variants were supposedly distributed in 6 test cities: Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Wilmington, North Carolina, Toledo, Ohio, Memphis, Tennessee, and San Antonio, Texas. However, there is some speculation that the list confirmed by Marvel's circulation department may not be as accurate, and as a result, these 35-cent price variants appear to be rarer than the 30-cent price variants from 1976. Unlike the 1976 30-cent price variant, the 1977 35-cent price increase test issues included a number of key or hard-to-find issues, including some of the most valuable of these types of variants. These include Captain America issue 212, as well as an error variant of the 35-cent variant. Iron Fist 14, which features the first appearance of Sabretooth. Scooby-Doo issue 1, a very hard Scooby-Doo book to find. And the most valuable of all of these price variants is this Star Wars issue 1 35-cent variant, which at a CGC 9.6, the highest graded, has a current FMV of $34,000 US. I myself am lucky enough to own one 35-cent variant, a copy of Marvel Team Up issue 62, featuring Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel, which I found at a discount bin in an LCS in Mountain View, California for $4. Marked as a fine copy, when graded, it came back a 9.4 CGC. In October 1982, as a result of sustained currency movement, Marvel could no longer afford to charge Canadian customers the 60-cent price cover price on newsstand copies of their books, and thus during October 1982 through August 1986 they produced Canadian price variants of all newsstand copies featuring a new 75-cent price point. Similar to the UK 30-cent and 35-cent price variants before them, these were essentially the same books, printed at the same time but represented only a fraction of the total print run at around 2 to 3%. Again, CGC census data backs up this estimate. This scarcity has an effect, with Canadian price variants commanding a slight premium over regular US cent copies. Marvel would eventually switch to having US, Canadian and UK prices on all newsstand copies in November 1986. But during this period, you had unique editions for Canadian comic book fans, including some great keys, including G.I. Joe 21, the famous silent issue, Amazing Spider-Man issue 238, the first appearance of Hobgoblin, Secret Wars number 8, Transformers issue 1, the first appearance of Transformers in comics, Amazing Spider-Man issue 252, the first appearance of the Black Suit, Star Wars issue 68, Marvel Team Up issue 141, the first appearance of the Black Suit tied with ASM 252, Punisher number 1, Thor issue 337 featuring the first Beta Ray Bill, Secret Wars 1 featuring the first Beyonder, and X Factor 6 featuring the first Apocalypse. And lastly, perhaps my favourite of all the Canadian price variants is Alpha Flight number 1, which seems apt with the Canadian Super Team. This is also notable as it featured a $1.25 cover price instead of the usual $1 cover price in the US due to being a double-sized issue. The most recent Marvel price variant is a little closer to home. It's the Australian price variant, which was circulated between October 1990 through to January 1994 and from February 1996 through to November 1996. There are thought to be 1,340 Australian price variant issues across 110 titles, and as previously, Australian price variants were printed in the US at the same time as their US cent copies. The story behind Australian price variants is an interesting one, and started with newsstand distributor Gordon and Gotch, G&G, losing the distribution rights for Marvel Comics in Australia back in 1990. As a result, a new distributor, Network, NDD, picked them up and started shipping new Australian price variants, apparently to alleviate some of the issues with delayed release times and local newsstand owners defacing comics with price modifications and return dates. Of particular note, these new editions were also proven to be the first off the print run in order to alleviate these extended shipping times. What makes this more interesting, though, is that Marvel head office was apparently unaware of the program until sometime in 1992. The first wave of Australian price variant issues all featured cover dates that were 3 months later than their US counterparts, presumably to accommodate shipping times. So as a result, covers were dated from January 1991 to April 1994. However, the internal indicias remained the same as the US versions. Interestingly as well, the barcode month numbering would also reflect this 3-month gap, and this is particularly notable for the New Mutants issue 98, with the barcode reflecting a non-existent New Mutants issue 101. The second wave in February 1996 through November of that year included the same cover dates and indicias as their US counterparts. Some of the key books from the period included the aforementioned New Mutants 98 featuring the first appearance of Deadpool, Iron Man issue 282 featuring the first War Machine, Silver Surfer volume 3 issue 44 featuring the first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet, Amazing Spider-Man 344 featuring the first Cletus Cassidy appearance, Amazing Spider-Man issue 361, the first full Carnage appearance, Uncanny X-Men issue 282, the first Bishop appearance, X-Men 1, X-Men issue 4 featuring the first appearance of Omega Red, Spider-Man 2099 Issue 1, Doom 2099 Issue 1, and Venom Issue 1. So that's it. What are your thoughts on these rare Marvel price variants? Do you own any? Let me know in the comments below, especially if you find any hunting through your collection. We've just launched channel memberships here on Still Only 35 Cents. For just $2.99 US a month, you can join the other price variant members to gain access to exclusive member-only videos and live shows. All the proceeds raised from memberships will be going to the Hero Initiative. And with that, until next time, happy hunting, take care of yourselves, and see you soon. Don't forget to check out other great videos, as well as follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We also host a weekly live stream, the Merry Monday Mail Call Show, every Monday morning at 7:30 AM Australian Eastern Time. Nuff said.